Part 3 is create a Fibonacci sequence using structures, arrays, and other functions in LabVIEW. A Fibonacci sequence starts with 0 and 1, and then the next number is the previous two numbers added together. So we have 1, and then we have 1 plus 1, which equals 2, 2 plus 1, which equals 3, and so on. So for this, you need to allow the user to be able to control how many numbers to generate in the series, and you will need to use shift registers and build array blocks. If the number the user picks is 0, it should display 0 and 1. If they pick 1, it should display 0, 1, 1. 2 should display 0, 1, 1, 2, and so on. So to start this, we need to build a for loop. So you go into Programming, Structures, For Loop, and create your for loop. And then in order for the users to control how many numbers to generate in the series, you use the iteration, which is n, and you create a control, which is the number of digits. So now the users can control the number of digits, and now we need to add in our we'll need two shift registers for this. So right click on the edge of the for loop and do add shift register and add element. And then we will need to add a plus block or addition block and run that to the shift register. And then because the Fibonacci sequence takes the previous two numbers and adds them together, we will run both shift registers to the addition block. Now, because the Fibonacci automatically starts with 0 and 1, we want our first constant to be 1, and then our second constant to be 0. Now we need to put all this data in an array. So we go into Programming and select Build Array, the Build Array block, and make it so it has 3 inputs. The first input will be a constant, and the second input will be a constant. Oops. So then our second input will be a constant. And the second input, the first input will be 0 and the second one will be 1, because the Fibonacci sequence starts with 0 and 1, and then it takes the data from the for loop to create it. So run your data to the wall and add it onto the build array, and right click and do create indicator. Now we have our appended array. And if we click run with 0 in it, we get 0 and 1. If we'll run this continuously, and we'll up it to 1, we get 0, 1, 1, 2 is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3 is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, then 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and so on. So that's how you create a Fibonacci sequence using structures, arrays, and other functions in LabVIEW.